last week we kind of started our conversation on this because it was happening as we were going on. We talked about Ike getting drafted, how big a deal that was, the history of the first round, who was all in there. But after we had recorded that, the next day of the draft is when all the big action started happening in terms of numbers for Auburn's baseball players. So let's give you some potential yes for the MLB, but those that were drafted for Auburn out of for the MLB draft, the last portion of it. We got Eric Snow going to the Blue Jays, Dylan Watts to the Blue Jays, Cam Tilley to the Mets, Sam Dutton to the Athletics, just the Athletics, not the Oakland, not the Las Vegas Athletics yet. I had to correct myself a few times on post for that. Diamondbacks got Hayden Murphy, and Cade Fisher rounded out the draft portion to the Red Sox. There's certainly some others we want to talk about here in a second, but what sticks out to you from that list? Names, teams that picked up players, Austin, but that's your full list, including Ike Irish.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest name there as far as production is definitely Eric Snow. I think he, had a good enough year that it looked like he might have a chance to go high enough where he'd like to go. And I think that probably sealed it for him to the Blue Jays. Did you say the sixth?
Say that again.
Sixth round.
The sixth round. I didn't say the rounds, but I think that was the sixth round.
Yeah. And so I think that'll be a good opportunity for Eric. I think he'll probably go take that deal and go. And I think, I think that's a big gap for Auburn to lose. I think you've already seen, if you've been following any kind of signings or portal signings, that they've kind of already accounted for what that might look like, and some JUCO guys and transfers early. But however, I think that's a big loss for Auburn in terms of a guy who did a lot of everything this year.
Yeah.
And kind of had to be put out of his comfort zone due to injuries a few times and things like that. But had a decently big postseason and a good year for Auburn. The rest is pitching, right? And Auburn certainly had a better year on the pitching mound this year. And I think that proved it by when you look at that's a total of 6 drafted? No. Yeah, 6 pitchers?
Drafted, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers drafted. Yes, 5.
I think it was 6.
You may be applying someone who is signed onto there, but I think I've got my numbers right. I could be wrong, but I think it's 6 total on there that get picked up by that. Here's what sticks out to me. I always like to look at just like who picks up who. The Blue Jays love them some Auburn Tigers. Look, you had recently Josh Donaldson out there with the Blue Jays. That was, I know, a couple of years past, but
MVP year.
Yeah, just an MVP type of situation out there. So obviously they like that. Cam Tilley back in some orange and blue with the Mets. It hurts us Braves fans a little bit, but hey, Sam Dutton, I thought he would go a little bit higher after the year he had to as well. But listen, this isn't about necessarily where you get drafted. It's the opportunity. You do with it from this point what you want to. And so those are your guys, including Ike Irish, who we've already talked about in great detail, who got an opportunity to be drafted for the MLB for the upcoming seasons. Signees, there were a few of them, I should say, outside of those that got drafted, 3 to be specific. We have Carson Myers for the Blue Jays. Again, the Blue Jays love some Auburn Tigers, apparently. Derek Fabian went to the Colorado Rockies, and then Parker Carlson went to the New York Mets. So those are your 3 guys, unless I'm missing someone that got so far. Maybe there will be some others that got picked up in some type of deal. Once again, it's your opportunity, whether you were signed, drafted, you were a top 10 pick, whatever. This is your opportunity to do with what you want to do with it at this point. We're just thankful to see their names get called in some way. Anything stick out to you from those 3 guys, or anybody you expected to maybe get drafted?
No, I think that's about right. I think maybe Carson Myers, I think he just had a lot of tape and a lot of big innings that he was involved in. I could have seen him going really late, but I think he ended up in a good situation. And then Derek Fabian, I think that probably surprised a lot of people, but I think his defense really shows if they can get the bat going that he can ascend through the minors pretty quickly. So I think that's a good position for him to be into in the Colorado organization. I'll look forward to kind of seeing where his career might take him through there.
Absolutely. And I love that as well for the Derek Fabian situation. Certainly he was known for his defense, but his bat struggled, especially down the stretch. And listen, you get some professional, not to say that you weren't getting good help here in those regards, but let's get a new set of, teachers and mentors in that hitting space, combine it with that amazing defense. Obviously, someone sees the value in a Derek Fabian. So we'll see how his career goes. But for all these three guys, all the guys that got drafted, whether you're apparently a Blue Jay or a New York Met, that clearly love the Auburn Tigers. This was a great draft for the 2025 situation and signings and draftees for Auburn baseball.